Truth and law. Praise be to God, who is most kind, most merciful, most forgiving, most compassionate, and who takes everything into account. God, as universal intelligence, created humanity to be like God, but humanity has yet failed as being most unkind, most cruel, most merciless, most unforgiving, and who refuses to take everything into account. Here follows the truth as delivered by universal light from the Godhead. Please take heed and share. Strengthen your faith, stand up for your rights. Do not be distracted by the political seas of right and left, all are wrong in the eyes of the law when they are ignorant of compassion, truth, balance and justice. What happens on earth through the will of human consciousness is goodwill only if it is lawful. All that happens via those who ignore the law is bad will. All that happens by dynamics of nature, by the natural world and universe are simply the will of reality. Universal law of abundance in compassion is designed to guide, defend and protect life within the context of other natural laws governing the foundations for creation and provision of life. Human will is either with God or the devil, according to which we choose to serve. Humanity is bound to serve one or the other by choice of living either lawfully or unlawfully. Presently, the devil's will is mostly ruling earth and our worlds, which is why the children are fatherless and the women are widows. God is both male and female. This fact is indisputable, as God states very clearly at start of Genesis, "Let us create man in our own image, both male and female, to be like us, and let us set them to tame the earth." Eden is the first lesson for human consciousness as a parable written to teach humanity about how to be like God and how not to be like God. All is explained in this video, Return to Eden, which I will leave as a link under this video. Learn and grow up. In failing to correctly interpret the story of Eden, and by using it to justify denial of women's universal rights, humanity has become not like God, but instead like a devil who lives against universal law and in denial of truth and justice. A devil is simply a criminal who knows no law beyond do as thy will, whereby only the physically strong or materially powerful has the might to exert their will over others in order to enslave them by reward or threat toward ignoring universal law and thus creating profits via exploitation and crime. Devils/criminals do not believe in or accept God's law. Devils believe in fear and death. They do not accept reincarnation and therefore strive only to satisfy their often depraved fantasies in just the one life. A devil is at most a thought about what is a man, a thought based on a lie and its fantasies, a thought which has no lawful place in universal reality. Thoughts are like fishes. They await to infect or heal the human mind of every generation. Which thoughts are we playing host to? Which thoughts has history indoctrinated into our mind as real or false? Which thoughts do we live by and support in our daily lives? How many slaves are unaware they are a slave to the devil/criminal consciousness? Universal law empowers every human to rid their minds of criminal thoughts and associated beliefs. The slaves are forgiven when they accept the truth and live within universal golden light reality, when they find solace and comfort in the unconditional love universal law provides. The devils do not exist. He was and is, but he is not. Like a character in a Hollywood movie, his words and actions are not his own. He is controlled by a scriptwriter and director, who equally are controlled by scriptwriters and directors. By today, the neural pathways of consciousness reflect generation upon generation of ignorant and mystified slaves. Who has been living like a devil? Who among them can embrace universal law and boot that devil out of his or her head? Which slave can recognise the devil's will using their biological host to satisfy its criminal wants and whims. Every human has the capacity to cleanse our minds by the light and power of truth, facts and knowledge. Truth, facts and knowledge are the universal reality of a living planet, a planet that needs us to care for it and nurture and tame the life upon it. We need first to tame ourselves so we do not harm one another. Universal law is the kindest route to becoming tame. Universal law did not create a living child so his parents could sell him to criminals who desire to torture, kill and eat him. In a lawless world, such is the work of the devil, such are its dictates underpinning the heights of power. Like the Tower of Babel, the criminal thoughts have no deep foundation on fact. The heights of power are doomed to fall. God comes down to earth gently, and the devil lands with a thud, to die in agony. Universal law allows the powerful to be like God, and be spared the agony of eternal death that is the void. Universal law gives every human a choice, because universal intelligence / God takes everything into account, and knows that every human alive today is a slave. Quantum energy is real as nuclear radiation. It is eternal and constitutes the reality of our human soul / light being body and spirit. The truth is, we are reincarnated into life after life, or else spend time within the quantum hard light paradise, which is another dimension within universal space-time, and operates on same principles as a lucid dream created by quantum energy operating within human consciousness. Devils claim that those connected to quantum higher consciousness are sorcerers and are unnatural, and yet their nuclear bombs, cell phones, TV and Wi-Fi are natural because those involve technology. The human brain is biological technology, created and powered by quantum light energy, and therefore an act of intuition or telepathy is not unnatural. Where is the balance? Why is a nuclear bomb not a sorcery? Why has this world judged and condemned those with higher consciousness as crazy, while simultaneously creating more and more terrible technologies which attack life on our planet? Which is more unnatural, telepathic brain power or a weapon designed to kill millions instantly? Who is the real witch or demon here? Everything clerics of history said a witch could do, man's technology can now do. Brains disconnected from universal intelligence / higher consciousness create destructive technology because they are a destructive consciousness that is established on oppressing our natural and humane powers of thought, which gave us law and rights, and are founded on compassion through an empathic connection to the higher quantum energy / golden light consciousness that created us. Quantum light consciousness gives us lucid dreams, prophetic dreams, premonitions, ghosts, intuition, remote viewing, foresight, warning and guidance. Quantum light intelligence wrote our DNA and created the entire universe. Darkness is not bad and the light is not good. Both darkness and light are lawfully present, and each working together in harmony, and each with a perfect concept / understanding of the other. That is the foundation of universal law, yin and yang, absolute resonance and unity that equates to the beginnings for conception of a living, universal child. Forgiveness is to facilitate spiritual growth when the light of truth has proven us wrong. People cannot be blamed for believing lies when they had no way of knowing what they believed is a lie, or else because they had no true choice in their slavery to lies. Ignorance is about knowing and choosing to ignore what we know. Present dictionary definitions of the words ignorant and ignorance are a lie, designed to wrongfully incriminate the innocent and mystified, while allowing the guilty to thrive in and profit through ignorance of universal law of abundance and compassion. Devils do not accept or offer forgiveness. They refuse to accept the truth of their wrongdoing. They live outside of universal reality. They have lost connection to their souls until they accept the truth in life. If they fail to accept the truth in life and find forgiveness, they are doomed to the eternal void. Karma is very misunderstood. People do not all suffer in life due to karmic debt. The majority of sufferers are burdened with the karmic debts of the ruling devil/criminals. Buddha understood this, and so did Jesus. That is why Jesus healed the sick and tended to the poor. Humanity needs to return our burdens to the true owners of the karmic debt. The story of Job has survived as a testament to the truth of this fact about karma. Sharia law is a kind of karma set as a punishment for criminals. It was not created by Islam. Sharia law was practiced widely throughout the Middle East, even in times of Jesus, who saved an adulteress from being stoned to death. Islam simply included the right for victims to forgive an offender. True Islam today embraces universal law. Prophet Muhammad does not support either Sunni or Shia versions of Islam. Prophet Muhammad is with the Sufis, as he has revealed to myself in a dream in which he sat in a Sufi mosque. He had golden light shining out from his skin. The Sufi connection was confirmed by a friend after I described the pointy hat and turbans he and the other men were wearing. Prior to that dream, I had no knowledge of Sufi or Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, other than my belief that he was a misogynist madman who sexually abused a little girl and treated women like cattle. After my dream, I learned the truth about Prophet Muhammad, and I realised I was wrong to believe such things. I accept Prophet Muhammad as the last prophet of Allah, God, as he and all Muslims accept Jesus as a prophet of Allah too. All Muslims are required to stand with the truth of Islam and to follow books of knowledge, and to abandon old ways and traditions which new knowledge has proven wrong. All Muslims who refuse to accept universal law are Daesh, as Christians who refuse universal law are equally Daesh, as too are Jews and all of every faith or none who refuse to submit to the unconditional love granted by a universal law as the universal right of every child born. Jesus does not favour any of the various religious factions claiming to uphold his tenets. Jesus is with all who uphold universal law, regardless of their religion. Prophet Muhammad, Buddha and Krishna stand with Jesus and all the good people who live and who have lived. Universal law forbids all forms of usury. Universal law upholds human, women's, child, animal, plant and earth rights. All powers presently operating on earth are serving a criminal, satanic elite that thrives on usury and child abuse, founded on centuries of denying women's rights and through foul judgments designed to create strife through persecution and division. Criminal elites are established in the belief that humanity is divided between sheep and carnivore. The carnivore humans believe they have a right to control and devour the sheep. They are actually quite wrong, due to being totally insane, as they have no capacity to accept universal law of abundance in compassion. Compassion is the head cornerstone of universal law. The builders have cast out the head cornerstone and left it for a stumbling block, so the compassionate people will suffer in their lawless worlds. They have replaced compassion with competition directly through their decision to ignore universal law so they can live like devils instead of like God. The devil's law supports rape, theft, slavery and murder. All crimes are in fact a form of theft. Theft of rights, property, choice, time, health, education, intelligence, compassion, care and consideration. All of those thefts are founded directly through ignoring universal law. God gave humanity free will and asked us to go forth and multiply. There are not too many people on earth. We have satisfied God's request. We are required to make an intelligent choice in order to prove we are an intelligent species and therefore can thrive through the natural adversities presented within a dynamic and living universe operating in accordance with the natural laws needed to sustain life on Earth and create a living planet. When women have their full rights of choice and autonomy, populations will stabilise. Where there is denial of universal law, there will always be imbalance and despair. Until women have their rights restored, the majority of males are left weak and powerless by bullies, operating on the satanic law of might equals right to do as thy will. Depressed and judged worthless, they vent their resulting aggression on those weaker than themselves, women, children, animals, because a lawless world has taught him that being a male means having strength to stamp on life in order to exert his authority and establish his will. He rarely understands that women and children empowered by their rights under beneficence of universal law are his true strength, because they do actually love him as father, husband, lover or brother, and all their lawful rights protect and defend his own rights not to be a slave to the crimes of usury. When women and children have their lawful rights, then only right is might. Being right is what every intelligent species needs to survive into the next millennia. Being wrong will destroy that species. Being wrong is deadly and dangerous. Being wrong spreads disease, sickness and misery. And for what reason? So a few lofty individuals can sail away on their ego trips and have freedoms to rape, torture and kill trafficked men, women and children for their pleasure? Is that what power is about? Having freedom to commit atrocities with impunity? Is that really freedom, or is it not simply organised anarchy against the very intelligence that created us? No one is free in a lawless world, not even the lawless. Their freedoms are merely the freedom to lose connection with one's own soul forever. The freedoms of lawlessness are the freedoms to choose death instead of life. Is that a healthy, sane choice? Every human hand is needed now on earth in order to repair the damage created by devils and their lies and crimes, in order to build a paradise for future generations to enjoy. Humanity is wise to adopt a vegetarian diet towards those ends of a sustainable future, or else engage in compassionate animal farming that does not rely on cruelty and destruction of nature. God, universal intelligence that created us, does not demand one world order or one religious faith. All faiths are required to incorporate universal law in the same manner they have incorporated the devil worshippers' money. Humanity is a diverse species. Diversity is our speciality, as also is our intelligence, because many perspectives are needed to arrive at a balanced and fair understanding. The more wealth or power an individual has, so all the more they are held responsible in the eyes of universal intelligence. The rich and powerful have a duty to establish universal law and uphold universal intelligence. They have a duty to do this in the ways of compassion, law, understanding, kindness, mercy, and through taking everything into account. The crimes of the slave are cast into the heads of the masters. The appointed elites shall learn not to create slaves, and they will learn to appoint true leaders who are open to guidance from the shining ones the criminal elites and their ignorant clergies have traditionally sought to oust and abolished by light of their physical gold. Universal intelligence provides leaders, and not the lawless powers of this world. Prophecies are a warning or a promise, according to whether or not we accept the reality of universal intelligence and law as truth. Jonah is proof that a terrible prophecy can be overridden when humanity is prepared to change and live lawfully with compassion. Revelations is a plagiarism written by the misogynist Antichrist Cerinthus, who falsely presented his evil work as that of St. John the Apostle. St. John the Apostle loathed Cerinthus and called him the deceiver of all mankind. Revelations is clearly a plagiarism of multiple original Testament prophecies which were issued by the universally enlightened to warn humanity about the perils of lawless living. This is why some aspects of Revelations are true. It is the truth stolen from the original prophecies, like fragments of golden light shining through time as a warning or a promise on what will be according to our actions and reactions. Is it punishment or universal reality that kills us when we ignore the law of gravity and step off a high cliff? Crime kills. Law is established to prevent crime and not create it. Prohibition creates crime. The devil's laws are rooted in prohibition, and they are designed to create ever greater crimes, while protecting ever greater criminals and thereby profiting from all their collective powers. The devil/criminals are using Cerinthus lies in order to justify destruction of our planet and humanity. Many people who believe they are Christian are supporting the destruction as a prophecy fulfillment, and without accepting the truth that God gave humanity free will and equal choice, and therefore it is up to us if we let the prophecy come true or not. Like the people of Nineveh, we too have a choice. Revelations supports child sexual abuse, as it is stated that only men who have not defiled themselves with women will stand with Jesus at the end. Jesus is described in Revelations as the morning star, which the original Testament prophecies inform us is the name of Lucifer. Sex with children is not considered as defilement to Lucifer, otherwise child sexual abuse would be listed as a defilement too. Only a devil could judge the mother of humanity as unclean and unholy, because only a devil is that stupid. Only a devil would judge a human child as illegitimate. Only a devil would offer freedom to commit crimes in return for gold and power. Only devils believe in Cerinthus revelations, or else the confused and misguided. Those who can accept the truth are fully forgiven, if they will repent and stand up for their rights to live lawfully with compassion and in abundance. Those who do not accept the truth are condemned to the void forever, not by the will of God, but by their own shame and guilt, which burdens their spirits and prevents their ascension into higher consciousness. Gold is a false god. It is of little value, and all who hold faith in its value are condemned as excrement. Gold is excrement of the universe and has limited uses in life. The wicked who will not lose their faith in gold, their souls are condemned to burn forever in the fires at the heart of the supermassive stars that created it, for it is the only light they know. As they have profited from the torments of their vain and egotistical faith in gold that has inflicted on life, so shall they know torment for millennia, until finally their light is eternally imprisoned within the gold spewed as waste from a supernova explosion. All devils value gold above the life of a child. All devils make humanity suffer on behalf of their obscene and ridiculous obsession with gold as a rare and therefore precious thing. In truth, the most precious metal in life is iron, and it cannot be valued by money alone. Only silver and hemp can be valued as true economic foundations, because they are vital to health, wealth, progress and happiness. Wealth, like power, is for sharing, otherwise they stagnate like water standing still in a pond. A true democracy relies on electing those who can most successfully uphold and administer universal law. Present democratic systems are undemocratic because they rely on a choice between those who stand against human rights and those who uphold them. No one has a right to stand for power by opposing universal law. All who oppose human rights are criminals and are therefore judged heathen because they are ignorant and a threat to child development. No one has a right to elect heathen into power, and only heathen will do so. All heathen are condemned because they ignore universal law in favour of satisfying their vague and egotistical desires and sexual fantasies. Present world powers are largely heathen, save for a very few. Present world powers rely on criminals of every kind, and most especially child abusers, for the purpose of maintaining their criminal power structures. Collectively, they sexually abuse, enslave, traffic, torture and kill children for both pleasure and profit. Collectively, they rely on criminalising natural products as drugs in order to maintain misery, despair, depravity and desperation among the global public. In doing so, all children are at risk and every adult is a slave. God is great, kind, merciful and forgiving. God is love. The devil is the opposite of these. Humanity has a choice. Either we are a devil or a god. If we choose to continue serving the devil consciousness, our species is doomed to extinction, and only the gold will survive. If we choose to serve the Godhead, we will thrive and reach the point of intergalactic space travel through our learning in life after life on Earth. The only way forward is to choose universal law and to democratically elect those who most sincerely promise and can be trusted to uphold it. Child protection directives, as designed by EU law, are vital towards establishing universal law along with global implementation of women's rights. All nations or faiths who refuse to incorporate these are devil worshippers and are doomed to the void, as too are all nations and faiths who continue to uphold the insane and irrational valuation of gold. This is the last and final judgment, as issued for and against they who have judged all humanity on premise of their false and misguided beliefs. Humanity will either fail or thrive. It's our choice, and of those who stand for truth and love, regardless of what happens on earth, they shall always find life in this universe, while the wicked / ignorant shall perish and spend forever in the void, because they cannot accept they are wrong, and therefore they are incapable of receiving forgiveness. This message is brought to humanity by Universal Light Being, of which I am the chosen living host, not as a prophet, but a preparer of the way on behalf of the youth, who is both male and female, of every age, faith, race and culture, and who is offered the hand in marriage to universal law. Presently, humanity is a widow. Our husband, the law, was murdered. Now, through marriage to the law, the son shall grow into the stature of a man who values and honours his duties and status as father, as too shall the woman as mother equally enjoy the same. Under beneficence of universal law, the lion shall lie down with the lamb, and all are served equally from the first to the last, and the last shall be first. The child shall be cherished. When the law is spared, the children are brought to ruin, because the law is an iron rod that gave us life. Without it, we die. All thanks and praises are given to universal intelligence. Without that intelligence we could not exist, and we are each divine reflections of that light. Let each man, both male and female, tend to the cleansing of their own souls and spirits, according to the guidance of universal law of abundance and compassion. Apply the law, take everything into account, incarcerate those who remain a threat to themselves and others, not for a punishment, but for sake of precaution to protect the child. Repair our planet, clean up the corporate filth, home the homeless, and educate the mystified. Remove the present cornerstone of competition and make compassion the head cornerstone. Let ignorance be the stumbling block to alert us to those who pose a risk. Live with respect for the law and all the life it serves, including respect for our Mother Earth. Life will forever pose its problems and tribulations, and those are not from God as punishment, but from the reality that created us. Learn to thrive by guidance of what is right, according to our compassion, which itself is a gift of universal intelligence / God. Learn to live without judgment and slavery. No woman shall be slave to an unwanted pregnancy, and no pregnancy shall be terminated beyond 15 weeks unless to save the mother's life or prevent future suffering of the unborn child. All the unborn beyond 15 weeks are legally granted full human rights. Every man shall take parental responsibility for his child, regardless of his relationship with the mother. Anonymous fertilisation of human eggs via sperm donation is forbidden as a crime against the rights of a child to know their father and any relatives of their father. The same applies to females donating eggs to another female. This is to avoid genetic defects. Humanity needs to understand that sexual intimacy is a serious thing because children are the result, and children have rights to be loved. Contraceptives are an important feature among those who wish to copulate but are not yet ready for parenting. Education on such matters as human relationships and parenting is vital. Any human society which fails to provide such education is a heathen / criminal society doomed to misery and despair. When children receive a true education, they rarely experience unwanted pregnancies, for they live with respect for themselves and each other. Universal light does not wish to find life in hosts that are born via ignorance, slavery or rape, because in this way universal light is enslaved to serving insanity, and prayers are for a quickening toward the end of days for that species, who provide slave hosts from slave parents. Under universal law, sexual relations between same genders shall not be judged a crime. However, no same-sex couples have a right to parent a child unless that child's natural mother or father, or in the case of a parent's death, other such gender and relative of the child, is equally included in that child's life as parent too. Same-sex couples are not permitted to adopt a child, and this is because an adopted child is a lone child and has the rights to experience as normal a life as possible, and regardless of what anyone says about homosexuality, it is not a normal aspect of life. It's one of life's natural abnormalities, which universal law does respect, but at the same time the rights of a child to live as normal a life as an orphan child to live as a normal a life as possible override the rights of same-sex couples to parent a child. Universal law is continually and immediately updated with onset of new knowledge and or technology. All must be instantly taken into account to ensure the continuance of balance and children's and life rights. Universal law is designed to limit crime and criminalisation of humanity. Universal law defends and protects the whole of society and also the sacred rights of choice within the framework of a law-abiding society that respects the lawful freedoms and choices of each individual, who are thus liberated to serve and benefit from their society. No one questions the gender of their surgeon, train driver or sales assistant. Laws based on criminal judgments designed to persecute otherwise innocent and lawful individuals on grounds of race, faith, class or gender are a source of evil, facilitating blackmail, bribery, theft and all manner of crimes, as too are laws against nature's gifts for consciousness. All such judgments are a crime against humanity, for they create crime and criminals and give freedom to evil, which is imbalance and lies. Every man, male or female, has a right to autonomy within the beneficence of universal law, and none shall judge against another or act through malice or jealousy because their choices conflict with one's own, or because their choices are greater than one's own. We need to understand life is not fair, and that is why we need a fair and just law to deliver balance, and in order to prevent deprivation from becoming depraved and sadistic, uncaring and callous. Humanity is better equipped to embrace universal law and accept our lots in life when we understand this is just one life of many, and all will be evened out in the end, and into every new beginning that arises from every end, jealousy is thus forever defeated as irrational. Be vigilant for the psychologically afflicted. Be sure to provide therapy and or alert others to any lawfully suspected /evidenced risk. Be sure to treat the afflicted humanely. Stand up for the child's rights. All who do so cannot fail. All other wrongs are righted from that point of law. There is no other way. Damaged children deliver a damaged future. Let the healing begin. End the crimes against the child. Take steps to protect the child and to prevent crimes against them. Poverty and austerity are crimes against every child and need to be eradicated from every nation. Accept the Rainbow Covenant as our rightful and legal contract with universal intelligence. See how the colours gently merge, and yet still each colour remains bright in its own right. Understand how every colour has an equal place within the one light it arises from. Lose the paranoid fears about racial supremacy. Lose the judgments against gender and physical weakness or ability. Universal intelligence is measured according to our ability to live with compassion. Therein resides our true measure of strength. The weak depend on the strong for justice. Trust the law and the positive truth it supports. Freedom comes with respect for the law and lawful. Be vigilant. Arrest the unrepentant criminals in our midst. Abandon their plans and works. Rescue their victims. It is time to save our planet. It is time to give the human child a future worth living. Many shall stand against me, but not by the will of universal intelligence. All who stand against myself as a true representative of universal light being shall fall. I deliver the law, not as one of the great, almost perfect, but as one who has survived great tribulation, condemnation and despair, and who was chosen by the universe as most trusted, not to commandeer the light for my own egotistical ends or desires, or personal profit by creating a new religion with myself as the Messiah. The haters shall hate me, and the lovers shall love the truth that sets them free from hate, and the love will never leave us alone. Live or die, the lovers will never fail. My light being experience and the nature of quantum energy is shared in this video, supernatural or not yet, which I will leave the link to it under this video. Scoff and laugh, judge and condemn, O wicked judges and lawless profiteers of this world. I pity the hateful ignorance your poor souls are forced to witness of your evil lives, until finally death releases their light back to God, and your heathen consciousness spirit is finally cut off forever, either to the void or first to the fires of a supermassive star. Please note, the universe has no cares regarding the physical shape of our planet. Flat or spherical, universal law is in no way diminished as the sole legal and rightful precedent for the beneficence of unconditional love for all life on earth and in the universe. The psyop distractions will in no way distract from universal law. The truth shall set humanity free. We cannot escape the truth except through adhering to lies, and in lies there is only slavery, in captivity, where even the rich and powerful are never truly free and face only the eternal void of nothingness. So the words are written, so the battle of will begins. Love cannot lose, even if the wicked might destroy this whole earth for sake of denying the truth, in order to cling like a cancer to their lies. There are many mansions in my Father's house, Jesus said, and he wasn't lying. It's your choice, criminal global elite. Get real or die in your bunkers as you strive to cull humanity to your desired under 500 million. You will have progressed only in as much as, at least, unlike the pharaohs of ancient times, you'll get to live a while in your tombs first, and yes, you shall be the last of your kind. Repent and make amends. Assist towards establishing universal law, or else you shall not know the truth of this warning and offer of redemption until your bodies have perished, and then enlightenment comes too late. Your golden powers cannot buy back your souls when you're dead, and every one of you will die. All who stand against universal law shall fail and fall. My faith is absolute and unyielding to lies or any worldly persuasions. The light has been revealed to me, and that is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help me God. Sorry if some do not like the truth. It is not the universe's fault that so many are indoctrinated with hate and lies. Go to hell if you don't want to rise up into heaven. It's your choice, humanity. The child will have his or her rights on this earth or another. Here ends the lesson.